It's some 25 minutes after 7. You're watching the AM show thanks to Benedict for sports. Let me just quickly tell you what to expect still to come here on the show. In the past few weeks, a little over a week, we've been doing lots of stories on defilements. Maxwell Agbagba at least has brought us 3 stories. Yesterday, there was a heartbreaking one he shared that happened at Kanishi. And so we want to talk about these rape defilement cases that are coming up a lot these days. Is it that we're reporting or people are just going forward a lot more these days? That's why we're hearing about these rape cases, or it's because it's simply just happening, or were we previously reporting or were we not? You know, we want to have that conversation with Mr. Bryce Appiah here on the show. He's the Executive Director, Child Rights International. We'll have that conversation. But I'm also taking your messages on the apology that's been rendered by our High Commissioner to South Africa. And, you know, the views are, so all the views, wherever you stand, please send them to me. Ayisi Boateng has shown maturity by apologizing. Case closed. The NDC should spare our ears with your hypocrisy. That's coming from Nana Ansa or Bafo in the UK, sending us this. And then there's also messages on Shatawale meeting Mr. President. So this one says Shatawale has really taken over Ghana music industry. I love his meeting with the president of Ghana by Alaji Premier in Wa. This one also says, hi, some trainees are still in the house and not being posted. We're going through a whole lot of frustration after passing your final exam with good grades and staying in the house without being posted for no reason. Fosti from Takrady sending us this message as well. Here's one that says, Valerie, okay, let's just go to the exact, okay, says, and it's quite long. Valerie Sawyer was part of former President Mahama. Okay, no, you're using some words that are not kind to use. So just send me a straight message. I mean, no insult, just be clean about the message, and then, you know, I'll share. But let me just hold on to the messages that you've been sending. I will share all the messages with us, but we just want to take a breather. When we come back, Mr. Nilante, no, not Mr. Nilante Vanderpoel is Member of Parliament for Ododododio. He will join us on the show. Mr. Kwabena Amankwa Esiama, Member of Parliament for Fantiakwa North, will join us a bit later on. So stay with us. AM Talk comes up right after this. Let's do talk now with my guest. He said Nilante Vanderpoel is Member of Parliament for Ododododio, and Kwabena Amankwa Esiama is Member of Parliament for Fantiakwa North. Good morning to you, gentlemen. Thank you for being here.
Lady.
I hope you're well.
By the grace of God.
Yesterday, were you in Parliament yesterday?
Yes.
Were you on time?
Yes.
Because the Speaker the previous day was not happy. So.
Yeah, I think it was a problem. It was a communication problem. For some time, we were sitting at 12 noon. And then all of a sudden it was shifted to 10 o'clock in the morning. I think not many of us, the MPs, got that message and that information. So some were even in their offices when the time the bell was rung, and they were surprised.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So that issue has been rectified, I guess.
Oh, yes. Yesterday we started quite early on time, not exactly at 10. Around 10, 12.
Not closed late.
But closed very late. We left Parliament House yesterday getting to almost 8:39.
Why?
No, we're considering the special prosecutor bill.
Okay.
And it was clause by clause consideration, so it took a lot of time.
It's normal.
So is it on the floor now? It's moved from the committee stage?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we are doing consideration.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, after consideration, it too.
How long will that take?
Consideration is a very difficult process because you have to look at clause by clause.
Yes.
You look at sometimes even words to see whether any of those words will not have any other legal implications, whether anybody could take advantage of any word at all. Sometimes even punctuations are very important. So you have to look at all these carefully so that you can craft something that will be able to stand the test of time.
With bird's eye, no, yeah, because the lawyers understand the terms and what should be in and what should not be in. And it must be considered by the whole house, whatever somebody proposes or would like to amend.
Okay.
Should go through a lot of scrutiny before we get to the final document.
So from consideration, it moves to what stage?
From the consideration.
Then you to come to third.
That is the point, the third.
Consideration is the most important one. So when we have done the consideration, and then you see, then it will come up for the possible third reading.
Okay.
Yeah. Then it's passed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it goes to the presidency for.
And then we get a prosecutor.
And with this particular bill, it is important that as much as possible we have a very
good
scrutiny and also consensus on almost every line, because it's a very important position in the in our fight against corruption. And as such, and also the way you craft it, it's very key in advancing that cause. Yesterday, ladies, there was a particular clause that got all of us close to almost about 1 hour. We were hassling over it, which has to do with the qualification of the special prosecutor. Somebody, the earlier rendition said that the person must be a Ghanaian, and then the question as to who is a Ghanaian. Is this somebody who has acquired Ghanaian citizenship by birth or by registration or on all these things? And people can somebody who has dual citizenship, for example, hold that position. Yeah, if the person has allegiance to another country, can he hold that position? So those are the things you have to be sure that you've crafted something that will not give somebody an opportunity to make use of the law.
Okay.
The House will speak the mind of the drafters to know exactly what they mean by being a Ghanaian citizen.
You know, he touched on consensus. So at this very early stage, do you see consensus? Do you see the two sides agreeing at least?
Oh yeah, definitely. The way it's going, the way things are going, it means that there are a lot of proposals from the other side, that the majority that they have proposed for amendments, and that has been considered, right? As well as those from the other end. So the scrutiny is being dealt with, and both sides are in agreement of the coming into being, as he said, of the special prosecutor to do away with corruption, at least for now, so that we can advance. Considering the amount of monies and the revenue that is being expended on corruption, we ought to have a stamp out of it, at least for the benefit of posterity.
All right, so we're following through this issue, but I want us to start our conversation with what has occupied most of the front pages, not just the newspapers, but other mediums as well. So on the front page of the Daily Graphic, you find Ayisi Boateng apologizes, but pressure mounts on him to resign. And I want us to take the conversation from the very beginning. So I want to play back exactly the comments that has brought us this far with regards to our High Commissioner to South Africa, after which we'll come and look at the apology letter that he signed and released yesterday, 1st of November. First, what he said.
But I think the apology puts to
is choked, and it is highly competitive. This government is doing its best to create job opportunities. And me, for instance, I told my people over there that my first meeting with them, I told them that it is because of MPP that I'm here. So MPP man is my priority. I told them when NDC was in power, it was Kwesi who was there. Now we are in power, so I see what things here with you. My topmost priority is the problem of an MPP person before any other Ghanaian. Take it or leave it. And they marvel. And I said it. If I have my way, every job opportunity that will come to go to a TESCOM member before any other person. And I know my colleague appointees also have the same feeling, except that because of IMF, we cannot do anything now. So a TESCOM member is my priority. MPP member is my priority. Before any other Ghanaian. We're all Ghanaians, but some are more Ghanaians than others.
Okay, so those were the comments that, that was captured, that made rounds. Subsequently, we know that he's defended these words and this was said over the weekend, by the way, last weekend, and he subsequently defended. But we would see later on the 1st of November, that this letter that I'm about to show you was out there with his signature right under it. I'm going to read it to you in detail. And it's titled Retraction of Partisan Comments and Submission of Unqualified Apology to the Ghanaian Populace. I have, upon sober reflection, decided to retract the comment I made during my interaction with some members of the New Patriotic Party in the Ashanti region over the weekend. I realized that my statement is unfortunate and at variance with the letter and spirit of the Ghanaian Constitution and the dignified office of High Commissioner that I occupy. I am aware that as the representative of Ghana to South Africa, I have a responsibility to protect the interest of all Ghanaians within my jurisdiction and to grant them equal access to opportunities that are presented, irrespective of their political affiliation. I regret the effects of my speech delivered to the young party members, which has generated public outcry. I, therefore, wish to retract my comments and render an unqualified apology to the presidency and all Ghanaians. And this is signed by Ayisi Boateng, who is Ghana's High Commissioner to South Africa. Question I asked this morning after I read this letter: is this a sincere apology? Is this one that nullifies the things that he said? Considering yesterday we pulled out Article 17, if you look at the clause 2, it even defines what discriminates means. The things he said, including there are people who are more Ghanaians than others, I mean, straight away is in conflict with the highest law of the land. So I want to ask you, shall I begin with you, sir?
Yes, why not?
First of all, is this a sincere apology? Is this what we need to forget what he said?
Yes, I would say it's a sincere one, because he has authentically signed it, and it's coming from him, and he has signed it, he wrote it, and it has been read, and it has been posted to all media houses, for that matter, to render an unqualified apology for the comments he made, which has been taken or is considered to be in bad taste as far as unity and consensus building for our development is concerned. So I think, yes, it's coming
there are
deep
criticisms.
from his heart.
There are criticisms that if he really meant these words, if he realized he had said something that was offensive and was not appropriate, then this letter should have come Monday.
It's better late than never, as we will continue to say. Once he has come out, you see, it takes time to brood and retrospectively consider a lot of other things on hindsight. So if for over 72 hours he has finally come, he has chewed on and regurgitated on what he said, and has finally decided that no, I now consider that I went overboard, and therefore I would like to seek another audience to give an apology to all Ghanaians. For
how do we know this is not pressure from above?
How once it is out, right? That is what people may seek gestures to suggest that it was not coming from him, but it's coming from you. Once you have authenticated it by signing, it is presumed that it's coming from you, and nobody should doubt that, because nobody doubted what he said. It was plain. It was in plain text.
Did you feel offended by the words that he shared with these young people?
Hypocritical as all Ghanaians sometimes, many Ghanaians happen to be at times. I would say that it's my felt that it might not have been said at all, right? But when something is words are coming out from an individual's mind, nobody determines what is in one's head, and therefore what we hear is what we know it's coming from one's head, or a thought that one has given. Only is expressed for us to either criticize or accept, right? So what he said, yes, with me it wouldn't have been said at all, but once it has been said, we have to scrutinize it and see whether it's good or bad. And some Ghanaians said, oh, this shouldn't have come from such an agile politician. And he's very redoubtable, savvy, and servant. But maybe sometimes we can all goof. We cannot sometimes go overboard, depending on the crowd that we are seeing. But it's said that, Angelo said that apology is a lovely perfume, right? It's a very lovely perfume. It can put out clumsiest moments, and it can be delivered as a gift, a golden gift to us when it is rendered. So I should consider it as something that is now lovely, and we should all take it as something that is coming or emanating from his outfit.
Yeah. Can we learn a bit about him? I mean, is he an elder of the party in the Ashanti region?
Oh, yes, definitely. He is a very astute member of our party, and nobody can deny him that fact. And he has been with the party since time immemorial. All his life, as far as politics is concerned, has been with our party. He is not an upstart, neither was he at the fringes of our party. He has always been at the center of our party. Okay. And we have recognized him as a senior member of our party. It's just unfortunate that this is coming from him. I always say that when our personal identities override that of the state, then we get into trouble sometimes. But if you aren't careful, considering the governance that the administration that we inherited, where some of these things were not being able to stamp out in definitive terms, one sometimes considers that it's a norm, it's consueted to Ghanaians, and if you are not careful, you can run into bad corners like he has run into. Okay. It's very, very unfortunate, and I wish it couldn't have happened at all. But once it's here and the apology has been rendered, we should all go with the apology and say that yes, it's a good gift that we should all appreciate. That is what I can say.
Mr. Wonderful, do you feel the same?
Extremely not.
Why is that?
I am very, very disappointed in my very good friend sitting here this morning. I've known him to be somebody who sometimes is firm in his conviction.
I've condemned it.
You haven't. You haven't condemned it.
I said it shouldn't have come.
One, let me say this. You say it shouldn't have come, but that is not condemnation.
It's a total condemnation. I have read it.
Okay, I'm getting you to condemn it now. Will you condemn what he said?
No, they say I have spoken my mind to it. I said I wish it couldn't have come from such an astute person's mind.
Marvin, let me say this. I'm taking very serious points in what he said. One, he said that is the mindset of all ambassadors in what he said. He said all his other ambassadors have been asked to do so. He said it. Two, the statement he made that some Ghanaians are more important than others is not just a frivolous statement. Three, he also prioritized issues pertaining to MPP supporters than to other Ghanaians. Four, he even said that he is encouraging the situation whereby he could get MPP supporters and TESCOM members to get them jobs outside the country. These are serious statements that a diplomat should not make.
Isn't he NPP first?
He is not NPP first.
He said NPP got him where he is.
Yes, but as soon as he wore that dress to represent the country and the president, he ceases to be an NPP man.
Are we all not being hypocrites? Because obviously, when you are a party person and you get a position, you obviously favor your people first.
I've never heard any politician having been given an official national position like this, come out to make such a statement?
Maybe that was his mistake.
Never. Your
Because
political
you usually
father.
don't talk about
Never.
it.
Late president.
What did Professor Samuel say?
What did he say?
What
Tell
did he
me.
say? Tell me.
Tell me.
What did Professor Samuel say?
He said they should give them seats first before anybody else.
Where did
That
he
is
say
what
that?
he said.
Where did he say that?
It came to Ayariga's mouth.
Where Ayariga's mouth?
Yes.
What are you talking about? He said Ayariga's mouth. And Ayariga was
he
what
was
at that
delegated
time?
to represent him.
Where?
What are you
And as
saying?
what?
Oh.
You see, that is the mistake people have.
The man
How do you
said
go
it.
trying to, you see, this mind of equalization, a mind of trying
didn't
to find
equalize. I did not say that.
similar
But
statements
the
or similar
tangent that
actions
you are
somewhere
taking it to
justify the, it's
the way you
unquestionable
are
and unquestionable.
criminalizing the whole thing.
Let me
like,
tell you this.
it has
One,
never
it is
happened
wrong.
in the
It has never
political
happened
history
before.
of Ghana.
It has never happened
It happens
before.
every
It
day.
has
It's in
never
our
happened.
mind. It's in your mind.
It is in
But
your
you are,
mind. It is
you are
in your
refusing
mindset.
to publicize it.
Look, the
No,
national
we
chairman, the
don't-
acting
no.
national chairman have come to defend him on this.
No.
He said there's nothing wrong with what he said.
We don't
The
have to
Ashanti
do
regional chairman has come out to defend what he said.
You don't
Has
have
said
to-
that there's
you don't
nothing
have to
wrong.
do
He
that.
has even emphasized it. That
is-
if they have shared the things that pertains to MPP people, when some remain, they will give it to our others.
Honorable, we should see things that binds us than what divides
I'm
us.
sorry.
You
I'm
see,
sorry.
you have-
I'm sorry. This particular issue is nothing that binds us. This
that
particular
is
issue
why
is
we should not
about.
glorify it. We should not publicize it.
Allow
we
me.
should not make a whole
You
food
made
of
a
this.
statement. I was very quiet when you were making those
Because I first made it. I spoke before.
pontifications.
So definitely you will have.
Let me tell you, when he was
Expect
speaking, he
this.
was not speaking on a political platform.
It was.
He was speaking to TESCOM members, future leaders of this country, where you and I have
Who
the
are members of
responsibility.
MPP.
We have it doesn't matter whether they're members of NDC or ADC
Who are
or
members
CPP
of
or
MPP.
NDC.
Yeah.
What is important is that somebody at that level
it was a
it
political
behoves on me as a leader, as a much more elderly person with experience and knowledge, to transfer knowledge to those children as to what we expect them to be like tomorrow. So when you infuse this sort of knowledge into the mindset of these people, what sort of leaders are you bringing up tomorrow? Please allow me. I beg you, please allow me.
The man has apologized.
Let's allow him
the
to
way
land.
he's going.
Let's allow him to land.
He's not speaking
We are
to
not
the
finished
apology.
with this, so I've got 2 more questions to ask you.
He has not finished with the
Let me
apology.
say this. Let me say this. Is it true that all these other ambassadors have also been given that mentality at the orientation?
It came
That they
from
should
whose
take
mouth?
it take from him. It is in the. If you like, let's play the voice. Maybe you haven't listened to this critically.
I don't need to listen to it. Once the apology has been, once the apology has been rendered, I don't think I will have to listen to the
fits
full,
straight into what has been the mindset of the MPP as a government.
Oh, don't say that.
Samia Uku.
Don't say. Look at
Samia
where
Uku.
he's going.
Please, let's allow him to land.
Stick to the question.
Let's allow him to land, and then if you have any objections, then you can make your. Let's let him land.
Before the obvious that Ghana wasn't going to qualify for the World Cup, Samia Uku came up and said that if Ghana qualifies for the World Cup, they were going to send only MPP supporters to Russia.
Didn't he come back to apologize?
He came back up. So you always made this statement and come out. But what I'm saying is that out of the abundance of the heart proceeded out of the mouth. It is the mindset, attitude, behavior, and also the way they've cultivated governance.
I don't want
as a
to
group of people. To say that the
examples
their governance
that were
is only
embarrassing when they were in government. He was right in the heart of the government.
Happy.
When the president went to Kumasi and said, "Mo asante for the Sikakogu from crying." All this are divisive. We don't have to. We don't capitalize on them.
I've never interjected you when you were making statement. If you try this sort of attitude, you make this program untidy.
No.
Because then I would never.
It has never happened like this.
So don't allow.
But remember what I said.
Don't degenerate the program.
Remember
please,
what I said.
You.
But you did not make any hard comment on
you
that.
sat in the class,
those days.
and in our class, we were told that you make people make their point. When you finish, you can put up your defense.
Not when one is veering off you, I'm a classmate. I have to bring you back to life.
When people make statements,
that's my job actually.
I'm helping you.
So please leave it to me. I can handle it. Thank you.
You also look at the people who have made a statement. You may not have known Ayisi Boateng. I have known Ayisi Boateng through football circles when he was one of the Kotoko management members, directors, and all those things. In fact, I've even been visiting him. So is
this who he is?
It is his persona.
The words that he shared.
Do you know his age? Ayisi Boateng is over 60, and you don't expect a 60-year-old man to pour out these words with the sort of background he has. But because he's seeing the job he's been given as an extension of his oil filling station, where he can say anything at all. He can say to his workers there at the oil filling station.
Excuse me, I want to ask you a question.
What has the private things he does got to do with the statement that he's made?
Can you extricate the message from the messenger?
I think the problem that majority of Ghanaians have with him is the fact that he's a state representative. Not the private things he does on the side.
I'm coming to that point. When you're giving positions to people, you don't just pick anybody. You look at the person you are giving the position to. The person's persona, his demeanor, his character will always have a bearing on his actions.
So obviously you're not surprised that he
made
said
a statement.
This. But how about the apology? Do you believe the apology?
I will never believe the apology because it's not
part
coming
apology.
From him. He was forced.
It's apology part of him
to render that apology.
How do you know he was forced?
I cannot. He was invited to the
so he was forced to say what he said.
He was invited to the plus.
Was he forced to say what he said?
The next 1 hour, he's written an apology. What I'm saying is that I would not compare his apology with that came from the Deputy Minister of Agriculture. Immediately he was drawn to what he had said. His attention was drawn to it. He came out to apologize on air even before he made that written formal apology. Look, this one, the severity of the statement made by Ayisi Boateng will have complications and implications for our national unity and also our diplomatic relations or internationally. And that is even more severe than what the Deputy Minister said. I don't expect an apology and that's all. Ayisi Boateng is not fit for the position he's been put. He cannot, because one, as I see today, if I were in South Africa and a Ghanaian, and I'm not an MPP member, I cannot trust him.
Even after the apology.
Apology? What apology? When somebody has come out of his heart to say what he has said, and in fact, not only just make a statement, dilated seriously on the statement, and made it clear what he has been doing since he left.
And that same person has come out to say, I apologize unreservedly.
After a week, after he has put up, if somebody makes a statement.
It hasn't been a week.
It's a week.
It's been a couple of days.
A week. Today is Thursday.
He said it over the weekend.
He said it on Saturday.
Yes. And this statement came on Wednesday.
That's the point.
Fine. What did he do? If you make a statement that you are conscious of that, I should have made this statement. It should have taken you 24 hours.
No, as for that, I will not.
It was more than 24 hours actually.
And he came out, the next time he was coming out, he didn't come out with an apology. He came out with a defense of the statement he made.
Sometimes you have to be circumspect and give detail
to
pronouncements that people are speaking against.
I can't believe you.
You see? So after thinking through and realizing that,
after defending it on radio, and waiting for like 3 days and coming
out, he was thinking that he was holding up to that. Then afterwards he says,
I want to before I even ask the other two questions that I have, there are so many things that you say to your supporters, Mr. Van der Poel. You do say things to your supporters.
Yes.
You also do say,
I don't want to go there. You also do say things to your supporters.
I don't go.
How do we know? How do we know? Because a lot of things are said.
Look at him.
The fear is that we only talk nice things when we are out in public.
He is a firebrand person. He has said several of these things.
You must know the platform.
I don't want to go there. I don't want to go there. Don't let me go there.
You must know a timing.
You of all people.
The ceremony you are talking to. Look. Those things, have you ever, when you recollect,
you of all people should not be commenting like this on this.
Have you ever?
Because you have the same character as Ayisi Boateng. He's a hard-hitting man. He speaks it as it is.
Mention one. Say it.
To the extent of you using your bare hands on people.
Me.
The guy who contested you.
Don't let me consult my lawyer.
Please. Okay.
I'm telling you.
This is not his classmates.
No. My classmates should not say things which are not true about me. You know me. I sat in the class with you for years. You know me. Do you see me?
Swim your mind in the days when you had it with Asla. the Minister for Communication.
These are things you are saying.
It happens to us.
I'm saying that what we are saying amounts to defamation. Look, I'm saying this. I just want you to understand that issue about Esla, I wasn't around. I wasn't even in Accra. And don't.
Some of these,
I'm saying
but
that
it happened right in your kitchen.
Your family, if you and your family see yourself are more Ghanaians, and I said you can do whatever you want to do and defend it.
Unfortunate.
We are not.
I'm not defending
but,
it.
But it is unfortunate. But we've got to talk about it. We have to analyze it. But that's
when
how
your party chairman, and the Ashanti regional chairman
I want to defend it. I want to ask.
They've all come to defend it.
Two things.
You are sitting here defending it.
When we hear comments like what we've heard Mr. Ayisi Boateng share. And if you look at the lawlessness in terms of the vigilantism that's going on.
They're not vigilant, they're terrorist groups.
How do you then say that you are advising these people when really, in corners where there are no cameras or microphones, you incite them? What do you expect them to do in the end?
Yes, the need has.
This is linked though. This is closely linked.
It is not directly linked, but this is a different question that you have put
No, it is linked.
Vigilantism.
Because heaven knows what you tell your people.
But
heaven knows what you tell your people.
The chatterboxes, you are always there when we speak to our people.
No, we are not always there.
No, you are always there.
We are not always there.
You have tapes, you have ears on the ground. That is why you hear us speak when you are even not there. You still have people who communicate with you, give you tapes and tell you some of these things, right? It's not always like that. It has just happened that it has come out of a senior man's mouth and a diplomat.
Oh, so you call him a senior man?
Oh, but he's a senior man in our
party. To speak like this?
Oh, no, listen, sometimes there are some of these things.
But people make genuine mistakes, don't they?
Oh, yes, genuinely.
This is not a genuine mistake.
And he's genuinely apologizing.
He's human.
What is it?
I feel so indicted when you use the word genuinely apologized.
So this has you have never heard of this. I don't want to go to a tangent that I'll inflame the whole situation.
Feel free.
I want it to be kicked off. I don't want it to be
I also don't want. In fact,
this kind of polemic must
stop.
Once the apology has come,
I've really kept my emotions on this alone. I don't want to make references, please. So
me too. I don't want to.
If you say you want to go, if you like, let's have a free range.
I felt the same until I heard Kweku Baku say something on Newsfile last Saturday, and I thought, okay, listen, it's not so bad to go back into the past after all.
Yes,
sometimes it brings
you compare, you contract, and you move there.
Yeah, because after all, both of you are on different
sides. It's not
sides.
always that you have to shelve it. Sometimes you bring it up, but the spin that we put on it sometimes.
Who is putting a spin on it?
No. Sometimes you
go overboard. As your national chairman defended it.
Sometimes.
As your national chairman defended it.
No, but
as your Ashanti regional chairman defended it.
No, I don't want to go into some of these.
No, these are the things we want to look, because if the thing is condemnable, then we must all condemn it.
There are several instances that I can cite.
Is sincere, is coming from it. But then, when the person has made this statement, and the whole national chairman of the party, and the whole regional chairman has come up to say that
it wasn't
they
after the apology.
What the person has said.
It wasn't after the apology. It wasn't after the apology.
So after the apology, we expect all those who spoke in favor to change their mouth.
Yes,
because what?
Because that which came from the horse is saying, I have retracted it, I have apologized unreservedly. I wish.
So will you ask your national chairman you want me to also come out and apologize?
But the person has apologized. So what importance has their defense got on the apology?
What are you talking about?
Once you apologize, it kills everything.
So the other question I want to ask is the NPP not unnecessarily exposing the presidency?
The president said he will rule with courage, civility, justice, justice with compassion,
and the president also has a record. He's a man who believes in the Constitution.
That is why everything must go by law. You see, he says civility, complete. You see, justice must be done everywhere.
But the things he said clearly. I mean, it's like in the opposite direction of the law that the president believes in.
This is a human institution,
what he said,
and there is no way you can control every bit. But he said he takes responsibility for whatever happens.
So please answer my question. Are these NPP people not exposing the presidency unnecessarily?
Oh, definitely. I will go with you. I will go with your statement. I wish some of these things wouldn't have happened. But once it's a human institution, some of these infractions are bound to happen. And the way we stamp them out, the way we attend to it, the attention that we give to it, right? The way we allow the law to take its own course without unnecessarily interfering. It's what makes whoever is at the helm of affairs people know that he is in control or not. That is all we have to know. Even in America, where they have the hard power, all the hard power on earth, there are sometimes arms infractions, and it is not every day that we can control everything. Sometimes
it's good that you brought this, but the difference elsewhere is when these things happen, they don't just issue a letter of apology. They actually leave office because they say
defense secretary.
Yeah, I was just going to it.
15 years ago. Yeah. He just touched the knee of a journalist.
And he says it was below the standards that was expected of somebody who occupied such an office. Shouldn't he just leave? Apologize but resign?
Look at what happened to the former Deputy Minister of Agriculture. He resigned from his own volition. He was not.
Should Ayisi Boateng also resign? Should he not resign?
If the former resigned from his own volition, I would say that Ayisi Boateng should pronounce that from his own volition. I don't have to compel him to resign.
He must be compelled.
Nobody can compel him to resign, except maybe the president.
The president has compelled him to offer an apology.
If the president considers the apology to be a lovely gift, right, a decent one, of course, then and thinking that the person is the right person that he has put in place at South Africa to oversee the activities of the progress and relationships between Ghana and Africa, we will inure to the benefit of our nation. I think he can be advised to carry on. He can be advised to carry on.
I want to ask you, Mr. Van der Poel, same two things, and we have to move on to another issue quickly before we wrap up. Are they not exposing the presidency unnecessarily?
Oh, they are. Obviously, they are. And I think that within this short period, set things shouldn't come out of a government that has promised so much. And also, so much is expected of it. And I think that it's all boils down to lack of orientation. I think the proper orientation we're not giving appointees. If they were, these things would not be coming. If they were, then I will also say they were maybe inadequate, or the orientation did not have the sort of substance that will strengthen people. Because you pick people from other spheres of life and you bring them to governance.
The same person you were saying that man is hard hitting.
Please, let's allow him to learn. Let's allow him to. I thought we'll talk about the cocoa roads before we wrap up.
I'm saying that
if you know him, then why talk about?
I know the person. That's why I'm saying that. The presidency.
I initially told you that what comes from one people like through his mouth cannot be determined by others.
The way you were before, you are not going to be the same. You are going to occupy a position.
He's not the same person now. He has rendered apology.
And as such, you must behave in such a manner. Look, when we were appointed, even though I know how to use cutlery set, I was taken through again how to use cutlery set.
But your team, you were not perfect too.
That's I'm saying. But you see, how many such situations happen in our
It was waste of time.
To
teach ministers
how many? Even mention one.
It was waste of time.
Such inflammatory statements.
And waste of our resources.
It was waste of time, waste of our resources to teach ministers how to use cutlery.
They can learn it from
if somebody like Ayisi Boateng uses, always go to the chop bar. And today you make him a diplomat. He'll be attending a lot of cocktails. Tell a lot of diplomatic this.
That accomplished man.
She did not even teach him even how to dress.
That accomplished man. Look at his dressing. Exquisite.
This. Oh God.
Let's talk about it.
But you see, let me say
obviously,
and I'm saying this.
The minority wants to see him resign.
Yes, because
and then what? Then the issue can die.
Resign,
the man is able. The man has apologized. He is able. He was put there to execute.
Straight into what I've been said on the Kokofu Bobo.
Look at that.
That is it.
Look at that.
What he has said is typical.
Is it not a tune that both sides sing?
Never.
Except that we haven't heard.
Never.
You were in power. You were right.
Let's quickly do the cocoa boards before we close the chapter. So, I think I have to start to read Mr.
Oh yeah, he was in power.
Because we heard a lot about monies to develop cocoa roads. It was heavy investment. But apparently, there's nothing like that.
There's nothing like what?
There's nothing like that. If you look at what the cocoa board is saying now, and I'm reading this report from the Daily Graphic. So the management of the Ghana Cocoa Board is accusing the previous management of the board under the National Democratic Congress of awarding contracts for ghost cocoa roads in the country. It is said an interim audit on the contract of the cocoa roads conducted by the technical consultant had revealed that many of the cocoa roads for which contracts were awarded had been found to be non-existent or excessively overbloated. So the chief executive officer of the Cocoa Board, Mr. Joseph Boateng Edu.
Not two statements.
Yes.
Non-existent.
Non-existent.
Excessively
excessive.
overbloated.
Exactly.
Thank you.
The chief executive of Cocoa Board, who announced this, said, quotes, "For the first time in the history of Ghana, the NDC had introduced ghost cocoa roads in Ghana." And the story will go ahead to tell you about the debts. Briefing journalists yesterday at a press conference, they do accuse the previous administration of engaging in various financial malfeasance, resulting in huge debts, hinting that the board had instituted a number of investigations and audit findings into such deals. And then, so there's a debts figure, Cocoa Road's debts of 3.52 billion Ghana cedis. Mr. Edu said, even though a budgetary allocation of 1.64 billion was earmarked for the Cocoa Roads project between 2014, 2015 and 2016, 2017 cocoa seasons, the then government awarded contracts to the tune of 5.16 billion. So when they talk about excessive, this is it.
See, the funny thing about governance to me under the MPP is that they don't know what they are doing. They don't know.
What do you mean?
I think they were not prepared. They were not prepared for government. They were not prepared. Let me tell you this: the NDC did not run Cocoa Board. NDC did not run Cocoa Board.
Not as a party, definitely, but the administration.
So what did he say?
Administration.
The Cocoa Board. You know Cocoa Board administration. It's only the chief executive and the board which was chosen by government, and even the board.
But who runs it?
No.
Who runs it?
Please, let me come here. Let me come here. You see, when you play politics with such institutions and you make such political statements, you sway away the issue. You don't allow us to look at the issue and, let me say, analyze the issue and bring out what is important to solve the problem. And I'm totally shocked that the whole chief executive will speak the way he spoke. One, government appoints the chief executive of Cocoa Board. Government appoints some members of the board because there are institutional representation too on the board. The board takes decisions. Management.
Who appoints the chair of the board?
I'm saying that the government appoints. The chair of the board does not approve such management decisions. The management decisions are taken by people, apart from the chief executive who is appointed by government, the rest of them are workers, public servants in Cocoa Board.
When things go wrong in such institutions, who take the blame?
So I'm saying the board mandates policy decisions. And the policy decisions out of which management take steps to ensure that those decisions are fulfilled.
They approve policies.
Let me say this. I have served on Cocoa Board before when I was representing the Ministry of Trade as a deputy minister. And I know how Cocoa Board functions. Those days, cocoa roads were virtually done by the Ministry of Roads, the Department of Federal Roads, and the Ministry of Roads and Highways, and Cocoa Board pays. And then Cocoa Board decided that they should be able to choose the roads that are important as far as cocoa production is concerned. So decided. If somebody and a management in place, according to your statement, have talk about, you say ghost roads.
The roads don't exist.
Those individuals are there. So why don't you, as a new management, call them to answer? Why are you saying NDC? Those individuals are there. They were given positions to serve. If I was a minister at Youth and Sports and something had happened during my time, call me and let me answer. Why do you talk about NDC? 2, now they are saying that some of the contracts were what? Over-bloated. So, if you done audit and you know what is supposed to be the actual, review the contract. It's your decision to take. You are in government. You have the power to do this and make sure you do it. The chief executive of the Cocoa Board is not out of the country. He's in the country. He's not dead. Call him, let him answer.
Mr. Siama, he has a point, doesn't he?
He has. This is exactly what the CEO is doing.
That is not what
I want him to understand that cocoa is the heart of Ghana.
This is not the only issue, Mama. The same Cocoa Board, the same chief executive says that a guest house that was built as far back as 1971 said that it was built for the luxury of Mama. What sort of stupid talk is that?
Oh, don't use that word on this.
I'm sorry.
But that's not. It's not fair for you to use such strong
I'm sorry.
words.
I'm sorry to abuse that word. But then,
let him apologize and retract.
This
is bigger.
He should ask me. Let the chief executive of Cocoa Board ask me to apologize.
No.
I said I'm sorry.
But he has apologized.
No, he hasn't.
I'm not behaving like a Ayisi Boateng.
I withdraw and apologize.
This is not the floor of parliament. This is not a floor of parliament.
How can you say this?
You think you can behave like Flagstaff House to compel Ayisi Boateng me to come to use the word you use? I will not.
Use this word on him.
What? But is it fair for him to have said what he said about President Mama? That the place was built for the luxury of Mama.
Please calm down. Please calm down.
Is it fair for him to say that?
This is for all you know.
I'm saying be in government.
Please make your comments because I'm wrapping up.
Political platform.
You have been
Please make your comment. Please make your comments on the issue and let's wrap up.
They borrowed 1.8.
Mr. Vanderpoint, please give him the opportunity because we're wrapping up.
It's not having a feel of it,
right? And they have used about $587 million US.
What do you mean by
the government, for
you
that
see?
matter, yes. Cocoa Board is the heart of our nation. And therefore, anything that happens at Cocoa Board happens in government. Government have a foot stool on in Cocoa Board. Oh yes, it is the heart of our government.
But so
what you are saying is,
so what's the point in organizing a press conference to tell us about something like
no,
that? Why don't you just activate the necessary forces to deal with the matter?
No, the minority had a press conference that cocoa monies have been is being mismanaged.
So this is in response
so the CEO was responding and explaining that even had it not been the press conference that they did, I wouldn't have come out this way because we are still
what did the minority
investigating.
All right,
we are still investigating. And Ghanaians will know when it comes on board.
What did the minority talk about? They talk about cocoa fertilizer.
Overpricing,
and they talk about the
that has brought out
management.
this. That has brought
Thank
out
you, gentlemen, for your time on the show.
My guest, Neil Antiboy,
is member of parliament,
and it will come out definitely.
And also member of parliament for Fansia Kwanot, Kwamina, Amankwa. Okay, gentlemen, we're done with talk. We're done with AM Talk. Thank you.